My opinion is that most law schools do not equip lawyers properly to deliver legal outcomes for clients. You're absolutely right. They teach them the theory of the law, the black letter law. And then I don't know how it works where you are, but
Hello everyone, I am Mukesh Kumar, a lawyer, mediator, and academic trainer. Today I am thrilled to introduce a truly remarkable guest, Ms. Therese Linton. With a wealth of interdisciplinary qualification and a broad range of experience, Theresa stands out as a leading authority in her field. Theresa's primary focus is on delivering specialized practical training for lawyers, addressing essential skills needed for everyday legal practice. Her expertise spans legal project management, legal process improvement, and personal productivity, making her a global leader in these areas. She works with legal professionals and firms to innovate and enhance their practices, aiming to delight clients, reduce stress, improve work life balance, and achieve superior legal outcomes. As the founder of the Basalt Group and the head coach at the Positive Lawyer, Theresa leads an innovative online learning and coaching program dedicated to transforming legal mindsets and revolutionizing working methods. Her impressive academic background includes 7 years of lecturing in project management at Sydney University and 4 years at the College of Law, focusing on multidisciplinary project management. Today, we will explore the necessity and benefits of training programs for lawyers. So, let's begin the discussion. That's why I started something like the way you are doing, to just giving the training to the people, because it's a matter of not only the law, because what I believe, law doesn't exist independently. You
mm,
need surrounding knowledge in order to apply learned law. है ना?
yeah,
So that's why I also started some kind of training program
mm-hmm.
uh,
Okay. I
for
think
the
that's
lawyers.
really great. Yeah, and I would agree because definitely over the last 10 to 15 years, what we've seen is that a lot of clients are expecting lawyers to be able to deliver their legal advice within the context of other things. And so it's becoming much more important for lawyers to work in multidisciplinary teams, diverse teams, not just work on their own and give advice on the law. And that's probably where a lot of my work started almost 15 years ago now in the field of legal project management, because I was working for Herbert Smith Freehills. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a project management professional and an ex-academic in that field. And I was working at Herbert Smith Freehills and I thought to myself, wow, lawyers are so smart. Why aren't they using the skills and knowledge from other professions that would help them to deliver better outcomes for their clients? And for me, it was very much every single legal matter has the same characteristics as a project. So we can use some project management disciplines and frameworks and skills to better deliver for our clients, where we can give them more predictability around the time frame, around the budget. They can have better understanding of the scope, what's in scope, what's out of scope. And so at that time, I was also lecturing at Sydney University in the master's program. And I wrote a book where I took the project management body of knowledge, so really the standard for project management, and I adjusted it to be more relevant for legal practice. So it's very much tailored for lawyers and for legal practice. And I think that's really important. So we definitely have a common area of interest there. Yeah. Yeah.
So just I want to understand what is the meaning of positive lawyer, that you just tag the things.
hmm So for me, I the first few years when I was doing consulting work, I was doing training and continuing professional development for lawyers in legal project management. And what I realized after a couple of years was that lawyers really needed some other complementary and even more basic skills. Many of the lawyers I was training and I was working with didn't know how to organize themselves on a day-to-day basis, how to prioritize their activities and how to improve their personal productivity. So I very quickly got asked by different clients and different firms to develop some personal productivity training. So I've put, I have a CPD session on personal productivity and a course on personal productivity. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. I'm a project management professional. I'm one of the founders of legal project management as a whole area. And often what is of most value to the legal clients is personal productivity training with prioritization and time boxing and things like that. I went, this is just really unusual. And so I did that for a time. And then what I became more interested in personally was the field of positive psychology. And it's the science of positive psychology, which focuses on things that help humans flourish and how we can do more of that. And there's like 10 key leading academics in that field. It's really an interesting area. And one of my legal clients asked me to develop a program that we called the Positive Professional. And it was all about mindset. So it was all about mindset, purpose and meaning, emotional intelligence. And I had done some training for the College of Law in Sydney in this space as well. And so I became more personally interested in that side of things. And I could see that a lot of the lawyers I was working with were overwhelmed and stressed and not very good at work-life balance. So I sort of took that personal productivity framework and I added extra elements from positive psychology to really support lawyers and any professional in mindset. So it's really about mindset and performance and ways of working. So that was my personal interest. Yeah.
That is nice because that is again this is the common interest because I designed a course that is application of psychology in law, specifically in litigation and mediation, because in both areas use of psychology is something like a imperative. and
Yes.
and because as you said, maximum lawyers, they are not able to manage their stress. They get everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
So I am also working on that, and just that giving the training regarding the personality, attitude, motivation, all the
Yeah.
chapters from the
Very similar.
psychology.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that is very
And
similar. You would probably really like my new book. It's called The Positive Lawyer Mindset, and it's
yes,
available on Amazon, and it has 9 chapters that cover a lot of those elements. It's purpose and meaning, working with emotions, there's work-life balance,
yes.
quite a few different things in there. So you'd probably quite like that as well.
Definitely I'm going to take that after this call
Yeah,
only. So,
yeah,
that there is another issue that is regarding the clients, because lawyers, they get the client, but they do not able to retain those clients. That is
yeah,
another area to work on, because what I noticed, because there is a lot of competition in the legal field, and this is, you can say, this is a kind of unfortunate that being a lawyer you cannot solicitate your work. That is strictly prohibited. So it's very difficult to something like practice the law initially in the beginning. Is it because there are a lot
mm,
of competition? And
yeah.
so what your idea about the retaining the client?
Okay, well, maybe some things are different in Australia, but in Australia, lawyers can advertise.
Okay,
Um,
that is there.
yes,
Oh,
yeah, so lawyers can definitely advertise, and we see some of the more creative law firms use Facebook advertising, and some of the other ones that are more into um, a personal accident and injury,
okay.
they put things up in the US and in Australia, they'll put things up on the radio or on billboards.
Oh,
So certainly that might be something that's different. Um, where you are, but definitely
Yes,
law firms can advertise here, and the smaller ones do. Although on the other hand, a lot of the business does rely on referral and word of mouth. For the large law firms, so the big international law firms, they get most of their business by responding to tenders. So major tenders from the government or from other large, from large organisations, large companies will issue tenders for the legal work. So they'll get a lot of their legal work that way. So that is interesting. So yeah, if you can't solicit for the work, so here's one really important thing. When lawyers network with other lawyers, they might get some client referrals for areas that are outside of their practice. So, like a wills and estates lawyer might refer one of their clients to somebody to help them with some, commercial litigation, maybe,
right.
because they don't do that. Yep.
Mhm.
What I believe is that if lawyers want to cultivate clients, they
Okay,
need to find where the clients are and network with the clients, not with lawyers.
okay,
So, and that's where a lot of lawyers go wrong. They're networking with other lawyers. They're
right.
going to continuing professional development programs. They're going to meetings of their law society or the bar association. That's not going to get them clients. And so when you have a limited amount of time, this very successful friend of mine in the US, he works with the large law firms and he coaches partners on how to get clients. And he always says you need to look for underrepresented industries.
Okay,
So, and here's an example, if there's major regulatory change coming up in the garbage industry, then you would go to conferences that target, the big companies who are in the waste and resource management industry. Or if there's major changes happening in the mining industry, then you would go to the conferences for the mining industry and and introduce yourself as, look, I'm a lawyer who specializes in litigation and I've done mining cases or that sort of stuff. So really for the lawyers to go and find clients in underrepresented industries, because if you just always go to the banking industry and to try to find your clients, then a lot of the big firms have already got all the big banks tied
right,
up.
right,
You
right.
need to find clients in other places. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very good point to just find the clients. And the second point is how to retain them, because in India,
Yeah.
there are a lot of lawyers. So all of them just looking for even the underrated clients or something like they want to have any lawyers. So there are legal ad scheme in India. You know?
Mm,
So free legal ad and all there.
mm.
So how to
Well,
retain?
the I've worked with, when I first wrote the book on legal project management, I worked really closely with a boutique firm. One of my very good friends is the managing partner of that firm, and they specialize in um, aeronautical
Okay,
law. So they do a lot of purchasing and sale of fleets of aircraft for the really large airlines, and they also do some for shipping. So they do aeronautical and they do shipping, and they do a lot of insurance claims and litigation, but it's all in that area. And they have an amazing record for retaining clients because they use legal project management. So legal project management can become a way it's really amazing when a team of lawyers and a firm adopts this new way of working. They tend to have less stressed lawyers, happier lawyers, because things are planned properly. People have enough time, the lawyers have enough time to get things done within the time frame instead of getting hit by surprises or having to work all night because something hasn't been planned. So having that project management framework. And then what's really wonderful, and I've seen this with all of the firms I've worked with, when the legal teams are using legal project management, the clients are much happier because they have much more transparency. They understand how long things will take. They understand how much it will cost. And if the scope changes and there's something extra, instead of the lawyers just doing the work and then billing them and they get a surprise, there will be a conversation beforehand. Oh, well, that's outside of the original documented and agreed scope. So we need to do a variation for that, and that will cost more and take more time. And they can agree to that up front. So they're getting a lot more control and a lot more transparency. So that tends to create much stronger client relationships and repeat business.
Okay, thank you. So another point is, because that is another, even my question is regarding the legal training, because law in itself is a something like technical course, and while having the education you get some more or less the applied knowledge without with the moot court and going court. So even after completing your graduation in the field of law, how much it is important or essential to have a training to become a practicing lawyer, a successful
Mm,
practicing lawyer. So what is
yeah.
the role of training basically?
Okay. Well, so my opinion is that most law schools do not equip lawyers properly to deliver legal outcomes for clients. You're absolutely right. They teach them the theory of the law, the black letter law. And then I don't know how it works where you are, but in Australia and similarly in the US and in the UK, um, the lawyers need to then do their practicing certificate where they work for a law firm for a year, and they go here in Australia, they go to the College of Law and they study other subjects that help them to manage their practices. And at the College of Law here in Australia, I was teaching a unit on legal project management, but it was an elective and not many lawyers went to it. And I think that's where our law schools let down the lawyers, because I believe they should be training lawyers at law school rather than asking them to do a practicing certificate on top. But it is interesting because the accounting industry is similar, where you go and you get your accounting degree and then you have to do work, applied work, and some extra study. So I think law schools could certainly include some better courses along with the black letter law that are about practice management and legal project management and those types of things. Um, yeah, it is interesting because in my profession in project management, um, when I became a project manager, there were no courses at university called project management. So I really learnt private study, not through university, because I have a Bachelor of Information Technology and then I have a Master's of Business Administration. And I was paid to go and learn project management separately. And then when it came time for me to get my certification, I had to prove that I had the applied knowledge. So there is, in many industries, there is this notion of go and do the learning. Then if you want to get certified, you need to do your applied time. So I suppose it's from a client perspective, it's the way that you have someone who knows how to practice law properly, which is a good thing. On the other hand, I think that the law schools could certainly include different units and different subject matter in the original courses that would accelerate that for lawyers. And when I think about the field of legal project management, I do not advocate that lawyers have to become certified lawyers and then they have to do more learning and become certified project managers at university. But I think that they can certainly benefit from short courses, the type of courses that I've run, and coaching in how to apply legal project management tools on the job. And I don't think that every lawyer has to become a certified project manager. I think they just need to have some on-the-job, they need to do some learning and then have some on-the-job coaching about how to apply the skills.
Right, right. Because what even I learned that while doing my LLB, there it's only theory part, and
Mm,
it more or less okay. There is kind of moot court and all going courts, but that didn't give applied knowledge. How to
no,
apply that learned
no. Because
law.
very few lawyers, not
Hmm.
many lawyers actually become litigators. I
Right,
mean,
right.
litigation is this much of the law, and then there's all this other bit. So
Yes,
doing moot court doesn't really help with
yes,
the field that what a lot of lawyers are going to go into.
exactly.
Yeah.
In the everyday life, the reality is something different than the classroom,
Hmm.
isn't
That's
it?
it. That's
So
it.
even the type of cases and all, we cannot create the situation in the lab and just commensurate with the real life, right?
Well, I think
So
a lot of it needs to be mentoring and coaching on the job. Yeah.
yes, yeah, and so that is really thing. So being a lawyer, apart from the legal knowledge, what are the other things that is essentially required to learn so that a person or a lawyer can practice the law some conveniently?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what I think.
So
I think people management skills.
okay.
So, yep. So teamwork, probably more in the beginning. First off, it would be teamwork,
Hmm.
and then moving into people management. Yep. And then I do believe legal project management.
Yes.
That is really important. And then I think um, client and stakeholder management. So how to really understand what your client needs and how to deliver on those needs and how to manage their expectations. So that's why I like that client and stakeholder expectation management would be important. So that would be the things that I would say. If you're in a big firm, you don't really need to worry too much about the financials. You just need to do your timesheets. Oh, and then, but I would say the other one, and that's I have a whole course on it, an online course, personal productivity. So how to really understand all the work that you have on, how to prioritize what work needs to be done today, how to manage your calendar so that you have time allocated so you can get the work done within the milestone dates. I think that's important. So that's what I would say. What about you? What sort of things do you think are important to
Well,
help lawyers practice?
well, of course, as you said that regarding the time management, the project management, these things are very much essentially required. I mean, because if you have a couple or even four or five clients, if you don't know how to manage their works, then it will be something like fuzzy kind of situation,
That's what
isn't it?
happens, and
Uh,
things are late because you
exa-
forgot something, then you have to
yes.
work all weekend, and yeah, so definitely the project management and then that time management and prioritization is really important.
It's very important because if you have only one client, okay, fine. But if you just dealing with multiple clients, then it is very
Mm-hmm.
difficult if you don't know the how to manage because you get the mixing the things. It's his matter is getting mixed with the other
Yeah,
clients' thing, so that is very important. So
definitely.
another thing apart from this, that is what I believe. So understanding the requirements, the emotions of other client, your client basically, because that I
Mm,
believe it is important. And or
yeah,
else it is because sometimes giving the emotional support required if you're dealing
yeah,
with the, something like if there is family dispute or property
yeah.
dispute in a family, okay, if it is completely business kind of dispute, fine, there is no issue of such type. But if it is family matters, then that is required in in a country like India, what I observed here.
Well, I think that is important, and I that's a really, really important, and it's actually one of the chapters in my book, The Positive Lawyer, is all about managing emotions. Um, And I think for me, that comes under that umbrella client and stakeholder management. understanding what they want from you, what they need, being empathetic and positive all the way
Yes,
through, those types of things, being respectful,
right.
because some lawyers think, well, I know better, but it's about making sure you've communicated that well and that you're giving the advice in a way that the client can receive and understand it, and letting them know the risks if they don't act in a particular manner. So I think that's very important, and I would put that under client and stakeholder management. That's
Yes.
very, very important.
Yeah, because and another point apart from the emotional part, and that is the language part. Because your communication has to be
Plain
very
language,
nice.
plain legal language.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Language is
Yeah.
very important. This is why I have designed another course like application of English language in law, because
Love it.
general
Yeah.
English and legal English, they are different. It's not.
Very different.
Uh,
Very different. I
eh,
mean, I'm a highly educated person and I've
mhm.
had a lot to do with complex legal matters and complex legal projects and regulations and all sorts of things. And I was getting some legal documentation sorted out for one of my businesses. And I actually very carefully read the entire document and I said to the lawyers, what does this paragraph mean? I said to them, I am very intelligent and I read it and I don't understand some of the words at all and I do not understand what it means. And they said to me, it's standard. All of these types of legal documents always have that paragraph. And I said, well, okay, we'll need to leave it in there because I don't want to be changing anything. I said, but I would recommend in the future, you could redraft that to be plain legal language, plain English so that people can understand. And because I think it doesn't serve clients when they really can't understand the documents. Yeah, so that's great. I would definitely support that as well, that plain legal language or plain English. I've done a few posts and things on that in the past on my LinkedIn. Yeah, and I think I have a newsletter around that as well, the importance of language. Yeah. Well done. I like these courses that you're designing. So, who do you market the courses to? Are they marketed generally to lawyers throughout India as part of their continuing professional development, or or do you use them just for your internal lawyers at your firm?
Well, it is something like not only pan India but also a global in nature, because I am getting query from African countries, some queries from European countries as well, since it is online. Okay,
Yeah,
so that is the thing. This is how through LinkedIn post and Instagram, or this is how I am just marketing a sort of doing like that. But
yeah,
in India, it's fine. It's something like okay, and doing, because these two things are very important
they
to
are.
just practice in the field of law, whether you are
Yeah.
litigant lawyer or a corporate lawyer or simple legal advisor, counsel, wherever you are, you need these knowledge. So this is
Definitely.
essentially required. And the last thing that I would really want to discuss about the technology, as it
Hmm.
is penetrating in every field, so law is not supposed to be barred from this technology, like the chat gpt and all, giving all the information, drafting so excellent.
Hmm.
Sometimes
Mm.
there is something wrong information and wrong facts, but you need to check out always. So what I
Mm.
believe, okay, this is technological advancement. So my perception about this is you cannot avoid it. If you avoid, people will go far from you and they
They
will use
will.
that.
Yeah.
And you cannot compete with the technology because it is very smart. So you can't be. So you have to go with the technology. So what is your perception about the technological advancement, and how being a lawyer can use these technologies?
Mm. Well, look, I think it's wonderful. And so it aligns with a very important concept under project management. What we always do when we're looking at work and we want to project manage it, we don't start from scratch every time. And this is one of the things that I teach when I'm teaching legal project management, I will talk to the teams about you have different types of matters and they have sometimes they have exactly the same stages, exactly the same steps, exactly the same deliverables that are required. And what you can do is you can create precedents. You can actually create legal project management precedents for the different types of matters. And then when you get a new matter of that type, you can get those precedents and you can adjust them based on the specific requirements and the specific elements and context of that matter. So you have to adjust it. It's exactly the same as with ChatGPT. I think it's amazing. Why wouldn't you do the work faster by
Yes.
finding something similar that has been done before and then add your value to understand the specific facts of that matter, the specific requirements of that client, and the specific context to make sure that that standard boilerplate is appropriate in this context. So for me, I see it's such a waste. Many lawyers and many law firms, they will do things from scratch
Right.
that they don't need to do from scratch. One of their colleagues has done it before, but they don't believe it's good enough, so they
Yes.
must do it themselves.
Right.
And
Right.
that waste time or waste money. So
Right.
basically, lawyers can be more productive, get more done, have happier clients if they can find these ways to increase their output. But you can't just go to ChatGPT and get the perfect
No.
solution
No.
because ChatGPT, it's not as sophisticated as that human brain and doesn't bring that knowledge and that experience where it can actually evaluate every single nuance. So it's very important then to have, so basically it will mean lawyers can focus on the most important part instead of wasting time on things that they shouldn't need to do.
Right. Right. But that there is some mechanical work that need to be done faster. So
Mhm.
for that, what I believe, the technology like ChatGPT can work faster. Where you need to analyze the things, you need to just argue the things. That then of course it is your
We
role.
can't do it. That's right. That's right.
Of course it
Whereas
is your role.
sometimes there are things that are just too special and too unique. Yeah.
Yes, as we use the calculator for calculating this something like longer digits, multiplication,
Yes, we
addition,
don't
and
do
all.
that on
So
paper anymore, do we? We just go,
yes,
"Tick, tick, tick."
yes. So
Mhm.
similarly, we use the chat GPT, and if doing something better than us, then what is the problem? But yes, where it's a human mind needed, then of course we
It
are
has
just
to,
using
you
that.
can never just get something off ChatGPT and give it straight to the client.
Yes,
It
yes,
needs to be reviewed and
yes, proper.
adjusted and made correct for that circumstance. But
Right,
I think that a lot of lawyers, because they haven't had exposure to other professions and they haven't really understood the expectations of clients, they often think they have to do everything themselves, and that wastes time.
right,
Yeah.
right. That is the
And
thing.
yeah, and it means that lawyers sometimes are doing low value work they shouldn't need to do.
Right. So my point is only this, that if you can get it done in a minute, then why to put hour? That's the thing. Sometimes.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And those are the types of things, though, that are going to retain clients,
right.
thinking in that innovative way.
Right. So, and being a lawyer needs to be something like very diversified in every field. So, why to avoid the technology? You should at least know. You know you are smarter, but you should know
Mm-hmm.
what is it and what is its a duty or its a requirement in our work, and how I can
Mm-hmm.
use it efficiently without any error.
Absolutely.
So
That's
that's
and
the
that's part
knowledge
of it.
matters.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
actually, and that's really quite important because you asked what other skills are required. And I also have some training and I often do continuing professional development units in the area of legal process improvement, which is all about how to get higher quality legal outcomes faster. So less effort, higher quality outcomes. And so that's where things like ChatGPT really can go into that thinking as well.
right.
And that's legal process improvement is what I call that.
And I have been using ChatGPT for 2 years now, as it is introduced in the market, and then I started using. But it learned a lot from us.
Yes,
A
yes, it
lot.
can. It learns a lot, doesn't
A
it? It
lot.
becomes
Yes.
better and better. You
It
can teach
yes.
it. Yeah,
Because I really found that Google something, if there is some information, Google will give, otherwise it will surrender. But Chat GPT can create a story. If you give the two names and ask to something like in this context, if you create a story, it will create the story.
that's it.
Yeah, so that is sometimes works like a human brain. So it is
Mm-hmm.
creative. So, but it
Yeah,
is
it's
up to
amazing.
you how skillfully you can exploit that technology.
Mm,
So
that's
that
it.
is the
That's it.
thing. So
Oh,
that
that's
is
wonderful. Look, yeah, we've covered a lot of really good things.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
great. Well
okay.
done, Mukesh. Well, you're doing lots of interesting things. That'll be
So
great.
thank you so much, ma'am. Because I need really your support to just carry on this kind of projects. And
Well, you're doing some
so,
really good stuff, so that would be
so
wonderful.
it's really nice to have you.
Thank
I'm
you for
honored.
being
Bye bye.
patient. Yeah,
Bye bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.